So here it is. Joe Biden goes on with Micah to talk about the Tara Reid assault allegations, and we're going to play it all the way through. I'll stop and start it, but what you need to know is that before this interview started, the Biden campaign released a statement, and they're going to talk. It comes up in this, so it's going to be explained again. But they talked all about if this allegation was true, it would be in the National Archives. And unfortunately, Micah picks up that framing as if that's what this is all about. If it's not in the... So we'll get to it. So here we go. Let's just start.
But I want to make sure that there is no question as to what we're talking about. She says in 1993, Mr. Vice President, that you pinned her against the wall and reached under her clothing and penetrated her with your fingers. Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reid?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
Do you remember her? Do you remember any types of complaints that she might have made?
I don't remember any type of complaint she may have made. It was 27 years ago. And I don't remember, nor does anyone else that I'm aware of. And the fact is that I don't remember. I don't remember any complaint ever having been made.
Have you, or your campaign, have you reached out to her?
No, I have not reached out to her. It was 27 years ago. This never happened. And when she first made the claim, we made it clear that it never happened. And that's as simple as that.
In the past 30 minutes or so, you released a statement on Medium, and among other things, you write this: there's only one place a complaint of this kind could be, the National Archives. I am requesting that the Secretary of State the Senate ask the archives to identify any record of the complaint she alleges she filed.
Now, that wouldn't be in there. That would be in a different office. It wouldn't. That's not what the. What I'm told, that's not what the National Archives would have. They wouldn't even have that. So that's why he's probably. My theory is that's why Joe Biden's trying to make a big deal out of. Well, let's release the National Archive record because he knows nothing's in there. And so, unfortunately, Micah gets caught up in that.
There was any such complaint, the record will be there. Are you preparing us for a complaint that might be revealed in some way? Are you confident there is nothing?
I'm confident there's nothing. No one ever brought it to the attention of me 27 years ago. This is any assertion at all. No one that I'm aware of in my campaign at, my Senate office at the time is aware of any such request and or any such complaint. And so I'm not worried about it at all. If there is a complaint, that's where it would be. That's where it would be filed. And if it's there, put it out, but I've never seen it. No one has that I'm aware of.
The New York Times has investigated this exhaustively. They didn't find any of your former staff members were able to corroborate the details of this allegation.
I wouldn't say that the New York Times investigated it exhaustively.
She did file a police report a few weeks ago with the D.C. police. But since you want to set the record straight, why limit this only to Tara Reid? Why not release any complaints that had been made against you during your Senate career?
So there's been 8 women now who have said something about Joe Biden. So she doesn't bring up the 8 women. She doesn't bring up the fact that it's been corroborated by her brother. She has a neighbor. Tara Reid, I mean. And the Larry King video. So here we go.
I'm prepared to do that. The best of my knowledge, there's been no complaints made against me in terms of my Senate career, in terms of my office and anything that's been run. Look, this is an open book. There's nothing for me to hide. Nothing at all.
You were unequivocal, Mr. Vice President, back in 2018 during the Kavanaugh controversy and hearings. And you said that women should be believed. You said this: For a woman to come forward in the glaring lights of focus nationally, you've got to start off with the presumption that at least the essence of what she is talking about is real. Whether or not she forgets the facts, whether or not it's been made worse or better over time. She's going to be going on national television on Sunday.
So this is the problem. The problem is that Joe Biden's own standard wrecks him. So if we go by Joe Biden's standard, not my standard, but Joe Biden's standard, he's over. But now because it is Joe Biden, totally new standard.
Reid is coming forward in the glaring lights. To use your words, should we not start off with the presumption that the essence of what she's talking about is real? She says you sexually assaulted her.
Look, from the very beginning, I've said believing women means taking the woman's claims seriously. When she steps forward and...
No, that's not actually what you said. She just read to you what you said. You said believing the essence of what she is saying is true. That's not so, and then she just lets him go. That bothers me. That she goes, no, I just read to you what you said. That's not what you've said. It's just like what Chris Hayes did on his show 2 days ago. He said, well, the lesson from #MeToo has always been, not that we believe all women, but no, that was the lesson. You can't change it now. And so now he's changing it, and she lets him, which is unfortunate.
Believing women means taking the woman's claims seriously. When she steps forward and then vet it, look into it.
That's not.
Oh, there were addendums to what he was saying before.
That's not what I'm just telling. I agree with what he's saying. Now I agree with this. I agree with this, but that's not what he was saying. That's not what the #MeToo people were saying. That's not what they were saying around Kavanaugh. That's not what they were saying. And so now he's saying a completely different thing. And that's the point that needs to be made here. And that's the point that's not lost on half of the country. On Trump voters, they see what's going on, which is why 53% of white women voted for frickin' Donald Trump.
True in this case as well. Women have a right to be heard, and the press should rigorously investigate claims they make. I'll always uphold that principle. But in the end, in every case, the truth is what matters. And in this case, the truth is the claims are false.
Is it possible these claims are held in an NDA? Do you have any NDAs that have been signed by women who were employed by you?
That's a non-disclosure agreement.
There's no NDA signed, and no one's ever signed. I've never asked anybody to sign an NDA. There are no NDAs, period, in my case. None.
Your Senate documents at the University of Delaware were supposed to go public, and then they were resealed. The access was changed. I know that you're saying any HR complaints could be in the National Archives, but why not reveal your Senate documents that are being held in Delaware? I know there's 1,800 plus boxes.
But just to double down, the information I received was that those human resource complaints would not be in the National Archives, which is why he's anxious to open them, and not the one in Delaware, which is what she's talking about now. Now, I'm not 100% on that. So just so you know, if someone has better info, let me know. Okay.
But if she believes and she alleges that the complaints may be hidden there, why not strive for complete transparency? Why was the access to those documents sealed up when they were supposed to be revealed?
Well, they weren't supposed to be revealed. I gave them the university. The university said it's going to take them time to go through all the boxes. They said it wouldn't be.
They said 2 years. They said that in 2013. So it's now 2020.
And that wouldn't be before 2020 that occurred, or 2021. I can't remember the year they said. But look, a record like this can only be one place. It would not be at the University of Delaware. My archives do not contain personal files. My archives contain document, and when I say personnel files. They don't contain any personnel files. They are public records, my speeches, my papers, my position papers. And if that document existed, it would be stored in the National Archives, where documents from the office she claims to have filed her complaint with are stored. That's where they are stored. The Senate controls those archives. So
I'm going to do some more looking, but again, my initial investigation into this is that it's not true that kind of complaint would not be stored there. Let me double check.
Asking the Secretary of the Senate today to identify whether any such document exists. If it does, make it public.
Right. But there are claims and concerns and reports in Business Insider, and she claims that possibly a complaint or some sort of record of this might be at the University of Delaware. So for complete transparency, why not push for the release of any documents with Tara Reid's name on them, whether it's at the University of Delaware or the National Archives?
First of all, let's get this straight. There are no personnel documents. But you can't do that. You wouldn't, for example, if you worked with me or I worked for you and you had my income tax returns, you had my whatever. They're private documents. They're not they don't get put out in the public. So they're not part of the public record that in fact is that any senator or vice president or president has in their documents. Look, there was one place that she could file the complaint. And that office at the time was all those records from that office are in the archives, and they're controlled by the Senate. That's where personnel documents would be if they exist. That's where the complaint would be if it exists.
Given the fact that you have said in the past that if a woman goes under the lights and talks about something like this, we have to consider that the essence of this is real. Is the essence of what she is saying is real? Why do you think she's doing this?
I'm not going to question her motive. I'm not going to get into that at all. I don't know why she's saying this. I don't know why after 27 years, all of a sudden this gets raised. I don't understand it. But I'm not going to go in and...
See, that's where Micah should come in. Well, according to the Larry King video that's been uncovered, she did try, and nothing happened. In fact, her mother called into Larry King. So that's what I would have said.
Question her motive. I'm not going to attack her. She has a right to say whatever she wants to say, but I have a right to say, look at the facts, check it out, find out whether any of what she says is asserted or true. And based on the investigations that have taken place so far, to the best of my knowledge, by two major papers, they interviewed dozens of my staff members, not just senior staff, but staff members, I'm told, at least that's what they said. And yes. Nobody, this was not the atmosphere in my office at all. No one has ever said anything like this.
But, Mr. Vice President, as it pertained to Dr. Ford, everyone wanted, high-level Democrats said she should be believed, that they believed it happened. You said if someone like Dr. Ford were to come out, the essence of what she is saying has to be believed, has to be real.
No.
Why?
No, what I said, it has to be...
Why is it real for Dr. Ford, but not for Tara Reid?
Because the facts are... Look, I'm not...
Because it's me. That's why. Because it's me. That's why. And not my political enemy. Look, because the facts... Look.
Suggesting she had no right to come forward. And I'm not saying any woman, they should come forward. They should be heard. And then it should be investigated. It should be investigated. And if there's anything that is consistent with what's being said, and she makes the case or the case is made, then it should be believed. But ultimately, the truth matters. The truth matters. It's period.
So they've changed believe women to the truth matters. Hashtag the truth matters. Used to be hashtag believe women. Now it's hashtag believe women after a lengthy investigation, and she's been vetted, and we've come to a conclusion. Then now he's hashtag the truth matters. That's his hashtag. Again, these are their standards, not my standards. I never said that.
I fought my entire life to change the whole notion of the law and the cultural sexual around the culture around sexual assault. And I fought to strengthen and protect the process for survivors. I believe that we've come a long way, and we have a long way to go in this system before we, in fact, are in a position that there's a fair and unbiased view. But at the end of the day, it has to be looked at. These claims are not true. There's no cooperation. I mean, they're not true.
Mr. Vice President.
I don't know what else I can say to you.
Well, I'm going to try and ask many different ways. Stacey Abrams said during the Kavanaugh hearings, I believe women. I believe survivors of assault should be supported and their voices heard. Kirsten Gillibrand tweeted, do we believe women? Do we give them the opportunity to tell their story? We must be a country that says yes every time. They now both support you. Nancy Pelosi falls into this category too, as well as many other leaders in the Democratic Party. Are women to be believed? Are women to be believed unless it pertains to you?
Look, women are to be believed given the benefit of the doubt. If they come forward and say something that they said happened to them, they should start off with the presumption they're telling the truth. Then you have to look at the circumstances and the facts. And the facts in this case do not exist. They never happened.
The facts are her brother was told about it at the time. Her neighbor was told about it at the time. Her mother called into Larry King at the time. She's been trying to go to Time's Up organization. She's been trying to go to a lot of different places. They all shunned her because of your power.
But I'm sorry, Jimmy. He did not. It wasn't documented correctly, and she didn't fill out the proper form from the proper government official.
Right.
And it wouldn't be even like, come on, even if she had done that paperwork, do you think anybody ever processed that paperwork?
We'll see.
And there's so many inconsistencies in what has been said in this case. So, yes, look at the facts. And I assure you, it did not happen, period. Period.
But why is it different now? Do you regret what you said during the Kavanaugh hearings?
I mean, good on Micah.
Is it Mika?
Now this is like the third time I've seen this now, and I'm actually coming around. She's not letting up. She doesn't say the other things I wish she said, but she is hammering the central point.
She is.
The central point is, why is it different now? What's different between this and Blasey Ford? In fact, there's actually more corroborating evidence to this. So she is hammering that.
What I said during the Kavanaugh hearings was that she had a right to be heard. And the fact that she came forward, the presumption would be she's telling the truth unless it's proved she wasn't telling the truth. Or not proved, unless it's clear from the facts surrounding it, it's not the truth.
As we
look, this is I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Please. No, that's all.
As we await for the records from the National Archives, are you absolutely certain? Are you absolutely positive there is no record of any complaint by Tara Reid against you?
So now, unfortunately, what this does is set up the question being, well, if it's in the archives, if it's not in there, then you're off the hook, which is a bogus standard. That's unfortunate. That's what's happening here. So
I am absolutely positive that no one that I'm aware of ever has been made aware of any complaint.
So that's also, if you notice, that's weaselly word. I was never made aware, or anyone I know made aware. So they could say that could have happened, but I just wasn't aware. You know, that's like James Comey saying, I have total confidence that the FISA process was followed. And then when they find out it wasn't, he goes, well, I was overconfident. Not I was lying. So, okay.
a formal complaint made by, or a complaint by Tara Reid against me at the time this allegedly happened 27 years ago, or until I announced for I guess it was in April or May of this year. I know of no one who's aware that any complaint was made.
I've got two more questions. The first,
I just want to say I find it fascinating. The gentleman who is suffering from dementia can have such crystal clear memory of something that happened decades and decades ago,
funny.
nor does the guy who has dementia, can he recall that he couldn't even remember who Tara Reid ever was.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. Here we go.
Okay, please.
go ahead. The first is about your University of Delaware records. Do you agree with the reporting that those records were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were resealed for a longer period of time until after you leave, quote, public life? And if you agree with that, if that's what happened, why did that happen?
Because, look, the fact is that there's a lot of things of speeches I've made, positions I've taken, interviews that I did overseas with people, all of those things relating to my job. And the idea that they would all be made public in the fact while I was running for public office, they could be really taken out of context. The papers are position papers. They are documents that existed and that when for example, when I met with Putin or when I met with whomever, and all of that to be fodder in a campaign at this time, I don't know of anybody who's done anything like that. And so the National Archives is the only place there would be anything having to do with personnel records. There are no personnel records in the Biden papers at the university.
So personnel records aside, are you certain there was nothing about Tara Reid in those records? And if so,
I am absolutely certain.
Why not approve a search of her name in those records?
Approve a search of her name?
Yes. And
So Joe Biden doesn't even know what she's saying, or he's pretending to not know.
Yes.
So what she said, because you can do a word search, just like you do a word search on a document. You could do a word search for his archives. Hey, let's do a word search for Tara Reid's name and see whatever documents it's in. We'll pull it up and take a look at them. And now he's Well, I don't know if he's pretending or he doesn't even know what the hell that means. I bet he does.
Approve a search of her name.
yes, and reveal anything that might be related to Tara Reid in the University of Delaware records.
There is nothing. They wouldn't. They're not there. And if it's,
So then why not do a search for her name? And if nothing comes up, then who cares?
Because they're gone. I already know they're gone. Whatever was there is gone. There's nothing to see
So it's basically
here.
just that you still want to waste time doing it. Is that it? You don't want to take the time to do it. So if we do it, and if like you say, there's nothing there, then it'll be confirmed nothing there. Why would you be against confirming nothing's there?
Because
that
nothing's
doesn't make
there.
sense.
Nothing's there. I'm just letting you know there's nothing there to be there.
There's nothing there. Okay.
no, I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
Yes, you do.
Yes, he
The
does.
point
There
I'm
are
trying to
no
make
personnel
is that
records
you
by
are-
definition.
The point I'm trying to make is that you are approving and actually calling for a search of the National Archives records of anything pertaining to Tara Reid. I'm asking why not do the same in the University of Delaware records, which have raised questions because they were supposed to be revealed to the public and then they were sealed for a longer period of time. Why not do it for both sets of records?
Because the material in the University of Delaware has no personnel files, but it does have a lot of confidential conversations.
So then why not do the search?
Because evidently there might be something else there. He almost remembers
Right.
is there that shouldn't be there. Yikes. What
That
is
I
this?
had with the president about a particular issue, that I had with the heads of state of other places, that would not be something that would be revealed while I was in public office or while I was seeking public office. It just stands to reason, to the best of my knowledge, no one else has done that either.
I'm just talking about her name, not anybody else in those records. A search for that.
He just I'm not fucking doing it. That's what that was. Yeah, I'm not. I already told you I'm not fucking doing it. I know it doesn't make sense that I wouldn't do it. Well, why don't you just do a search for her name to just, to make everyone else feel good about it?
No.
Because her name's not there. I know, but you're saying that. But that's why we would do a search so that we would know that and we wouldn't have to rely on your word. And he's acting like he doesn't understand this. He does understand this.
That's why it would be great at this moment that Mika was able to say, well, I have somebody else here. Anita Hill would like to talk to you right now.
Nothing classified with the president or anybody else. I'm just asking, why not do a search for Tara Reid's name in the University of Delaware records?
Why do that?
Look, I mean, who does that search?
That's the problem. That's the
University
problem.
of
You're worried
Delaware.
about that?
Perhaps you set up a commission that can do it. I don't know. Whatever
Maybe you get an intern who knows his way around a keyboard.
is the fairest way to create the most transparency.
He just goes, no, not fucking doing it. Do you see him?
Nope.
No.
No transparency.
Nope, not happening.
You don't need it because nothing's here to see.
Well, look, Mika, she said she filed a report. She has her employment records still. She said she refiled a report with the only office that would have a report in the United States Senate at the time. If the report was ever filed, it was filed there, period.
If you could speak directly to Tara Reid about her claims or anything, what would you say?
This never, ever happened. I don't know what is motivating her. I don't know what's behind any of it, but it's irrelevant. It never happened. It never happened, period. I'm not going to start questioning her motive. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to go after Tara Reid for saying these things. It's simple. What are the facts? Do any of the things she said, do they add up? It never happened.
Mr. Vice President, stay with us. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and then Joe and Willie will join with questions on.
Okay.
You know what I was expecting him to say was, she means nothing to me.
Ha!
She's nothing.
So there you go. I mean, she did hammer what she did ask at least, it seemed like 10 times. Why is it different now than when it was Dr. Ford and Kavanaugh? Why is it different now? You said this, and now you're saying this. You said believe all women, now you don't. Stacey Abrams said the same thing, and now what is going on? So she really, good. Good for her. I actually think Micah did okay.
I thought she did.
I wish she would have brought up the corroborating evidence. That would have been nice, but she didn't. But my fear is now going forward that Joe Biden, because the press sucks so hard in America, that they A, won't ask him about it, and B, if they do, he'll go, I've already answered these questions. I'm not talking about this anymore. We're going to talk about the issues. We're going to talk about the campaign or Donald Trump or the pandemic. We're not talking about that. I already talked about that. And if you want to know anything about that, refer to my 20-minute interview I did on MSNBC, and I talked all about it. That's what he's going to say going forward. What do you think?
I think you're right.
I think I'm right.
But also, somebody said in the live chat, they said, "Why are you being so mean to Bernie Sanders' good friend?" And that's what I'd like to know, Jimmy.
You mean decent guy? Because he's a decent guy.
Yeah, and why are you trying to divide America now?
Joe is a decent guy.
Jimmy, why are you dividing America? Examining Joe's nefarious dark side of being a predator. Why are you doing that?
It happens every day.
Ba-bum, ba-bum.
No matter what you say.
Dun, dun.
In fact, it happens all the time. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?